food is a big part of American society, and I'm sure we're all familiar with the ever so famous Golden Arches, or know the familiar ding of the bell and the slogan Live Más. As a kinesiology major at Texas Tech University, I have taken many classes on how the body is affected by poor health choices, both physically and mentally. Now, when it comes to these fast food restaurants, the quality and types of food offered at these big fast food corporations can have a slew of negative effects on the body, starting at a young age all the way to adulthood. We must learn to navigate the menu, that way we can still enjoy our favorite fast food restaurants while also maintaining a healthy lifestyle. That way we can have the best of both worlds. Now, when it comes to the negative effects on the body, there is both a physical aspect and a mental aspect. For the physical aspect, there's the development of childhood obesity and other health problems. Now, these children are consuming too much bad food. Researchers found the average fast food meal contains 1,000 calories, far more than the average child needs, and the snacks and desserts offered have 5 times more than the 200 to 300 calories recommended by the American Dietetic Association. Also, when these children are eating these high-calorie meals, this is what leads to childhood obesity, especially when the child is inactive. And these diets are low in fibers, vitamins, and minerals that these children need as they grow and develop. There's also the early development of harmful diseases. The first disease is type 2 diabetes. These high-calorie drinks and foods can lead to insulin resistance, which in turn is what leads to type 2 diabetes developing in these small children. The Sioux Falls Urgent Care states that when a person's body carries high fat, it can cause cells to become resistant to insulin. And when these cells become resistant to insulin, this is what causes type 2 diabetes to develop. These foods also contain a ton of sodium, and high sodium is a major factor that contributes towards developing heart disease because it causes a buildup of cholesterol. According to the Non-Communicable Diseases Alliance, poor diets account for 11% of stroke cases and 31% of coronary heart disease cases. Now there's the mental aspect. These fast food restaurants can cause a development of poor habits and lifestyle choices. First off, this fast food is addictive. The high salt and fat foods have potential for addiction, and the American Psychiatric Association notes that meals are mainly served with sodas like Diet Coke, Dr. Pepper, Fanta. And most of these sodas contain a high amount of sugar, and they also contain caffeine, which can increase and further your chance for addiction and dependence on these foods. Also, obesity can have its own psychological dependence as well, because it is a negative cycle that encourages consumption and leads to high-risk health issues. There is also a change in family cohesiveness. Now, I'm sure when we're all on the go, drive-thrus just seem the most convenient, but when we rely on that, there is less home-cooked meals eaten around the dinner table with your family. And when there's less of those meals, this can lead to less productive family conversation and less family connection. It also prevents people from eating mindfully. Now, you just see a drive-thru and you think, oh, I could drive through there real quick and pick up lunch on the way to something. Even though you may not be hungry, your emotions are just driving you to eat. So now you're just eating to eat instead of eating to comfort your hunger. But there are ways to make healthier choices at these restaurants. First, have a plan of action for your hunger. Make decisions for your meal before you are hungry, because your body is more likely to resist these high fat and high salt foods in the future rather than when you're starving in the present. Also, snack throughout the day instead of waiting for a big lunch or a big dinner, because when you wait too long to eat, this can cause your blood sugar to bottom out. According to Rod Friedman from the Harvard Business Review, spikes and drops in blood sugar are both bad for productivity and your brain overall. Instead, have smaller and more frequent meals to maintain your glucose at a more consistent level. Also, watch out for healthier options appearing on menus. This is becoming more and more common as time goes on for these fast food restaurants. And I'm sure when we all think of healthy menu options for fast food restaurants, we think of wilted salads from McDonald's. But there are actually yummy and delicious food options available at these restaurants. For example, there's the grilled chicken wrap at Chick-fil-A, or the Fresca menu items at Taco Bell, or even the garden fresh salads at Wendy's, which are actually garden fresh salads. Also, these fast food restaurants allow you to personalize your menu items, and you can even make them vegan and vegetarian depending on your dietary needs. For example, on the Chipotle app, you can make your bowls keto, vegetarian, and many other healthier options, and they have this available for people with stricter diets. There's also a very famous menu item at Taco Bell, the Crunchwrap Supreme, which I'm sure we've all heard of. And there is a very easy way to make it vegan and still delicious. You just take out the cheese, sour cream, and meat and replace it with guacamole, lettuce, tomatoes, and black beans. And now you've made a high saturated, very high salt containing food a fresher, more healthy option for yourself. And lastly, I'm sure we've all heard of In-N-Out burgers, but they actually have a veggie burger, which takes out the meat and makes it vegetarian, but it still has the same fresh vegetables, the same delicious spread, so it is still a delicious meal and allows you to make better choices when going out to eat with your friends or family. Now, as you can see, the normal options that these fast food restaurants provide can cause a variety of issues on both the mind and the body. But if you have a plan of action when approaching these types of restaurants and pay attention to the choices you're making, you can still enjoy delicious drive-thrus while still maintaining a healthy lifestyle. The job and task is not to learn to resist temptation and completely cut yourself off, but rather it is to make healthy eating the easiest available option for yourself.